Hey guys, so today I'm getting back the truck. I actually sent it for suspension rework, and I apologize for being silent for like a month or 2 months. We basically got a camper installed on the Jeep, so it's a completely different vehicle. But after doing this, the Jeep completely squatted down, and I lost pretty much all my articulation in the back. And it's pretty normal when you put a camper on your vehicle. The payload of cars is not that great. But anyway, it was kind of like a boat, and I wanted to correct that. So met a guy. You'll see him later today, and he was very aligned with how I like to approach a system, a suspension system, and we basically agreed on pretty much all the parts we would put in it and how that would be configured for the vehicle. So I'm driving up right now with the wife, kind of like a day trip to get the Jeep back. So, the smart choice or the not so smart choice? Yes, we did the smart choice. We just arrived, so I should be meeting Tony anytime soon. He has a few of his rigs outside, so that's his main one. That's the reason I know it works, because he has the same as me, so the setup is really, really similar. He's running SDI as well, he's running Clayton as well. We'll talk about all that. Hey boss, how's
How
it
we
going?
doing? Good, good.
Well, we made it.
Yeah, snuck up on me.
All right. Dude, check all that space. Dude, look at that. Crazy, man. Must be the most flexed out camper out there. Check this out. You see a camper doing this? Alright guys, so like I told you, I just arrived at Action Axle.
Quick editor notes here. It seems like during the whole video I can't manage to say properly action axle, and for some reason it's just like a tongue twister for me. But yeah, if you hear me say something weird, it's probably that. Back to the video.
This is Tony, and I have the opportunity today to speak with Tony, and I hope I can shed some light on what is a good suspension system for your overlanding vehicle or off-roading vehicle. We all have our different goals we want to achieve, and it's important to understand what are the leverage you have when you're configuring your system. And so I'm very glad to be with Tony today because he'll be able to first show me a little bit around the shop, what he's doing here for me and for the car that is just behind me. And yeah, so tell us a little bit about yourself, Tony.
Well, I've been in the business 31 years and been doing primarily drivability for about 25 of those years, actually a little bit more than that. I'm an avid off-roader, motorcycles, Jeeps, trucks, motorhomes. I pretty much worked on everything, and I like to go fast.
Yeah. So see, we all have our different goals. For me, I don't really care about going super fast off-road, but if my rig is configured by somebody that has the same rig as me and he likes to go fast, I mean, I should be good then, right?
Absolutely. I mean, if you can travel fast, you can travel safe at a slower speed also.
True. So, I mean, I think so. The main problem in the overlanding community I see is that people are running grossly overweight vehicle. I remember the first person I went off-roading with and doing some kind of an overlanding trip, camping and everything. He was running a full runner. They basically have I think a gross weight of something around 4.5K, so 4,500.
and he told me his vehicle was around 7,000 pounds with a payload capacity of 1,500 pound. He was like super above that, right?
He was above it, yeah.
Yeah. And so full bash plates, everything. So great setup, but super heavy. And you know, it's like you're driving a wagon at this point.
Right. And I don't advocate, exceeding a GVWR, but in our case, sometimes we have to exceed that to carry the gear. And I mean, our vehicles, I have a very similar, rig to yours, and we only have 900 to 1,000 pounds of, documented, GVWR or
Payload capacity, right?
Yeah, payload capacity. And yeah, even my truck, I don't have skid plates or anything on it, no heavy bumpers, and just, my daily commuter, with 2 people in it, I'm right at GVWR.
Yeah. It's so, and when you think about it, like most people are like, that's okay, like everybody's running it, that's fine. And for most cases, like if you're doing like on road, just like road stuff, like it's already unpleasant to drive. But when you get off road, it just became dangerous. I'm like, even like going a little faster in my work parking lot, I can bottom out easy with the Jeep like loaded like that. So it's like, it's just horrible. So okay, so I mean, now we know what's the problem. Like how, what are the leverage we can use to solve that? Because I can go online, I can find a kit, I can find a lift kit, and I can find shocks. But how do I know which one I want to take?
Well, that's the tricky thing about this. I mean, obviously you need springs that are capable of handling the increased, weight that you're adding to the vehicle. Increased spring rates require more rebound damping. Otherwise, when you compress that spring, it's going to recoil.
And that's typically what we saw on those like campers on the road, like that go roll, and they never stop. I'm like, dude, like the bump was 15 minutes ago.
Yeah. So in our case with the Gladiator diesel, I mean, they had the bottoming out problem in the front end, right out of the box. I only drove my truck for about 8 miles before I started making modifications to it. So I kind of knew where I was going. But a lot of these aftermarket shock options, they didn't have enough damping to control the additional weight of the diesel alone before you started adding weight. I mean, they might work okay on a gas vehicle, but so that's kind of, where I started out this whole thing, was trying to come up with a solution to make it just drivable, under normal conditions. And then
and it's difficult for the average Joe because right, so first you need to know what's the spring rate. Not everybody gives it, right? So once you find someone, Wink Clayton, that basically give you a spring rate, then you also need to pair that with the proper dampening. And then it's even worse because like it's even harder, I understand, to get specs for the shocks, right? Like what's the damping, what shims have been used in that thing, or like,
It's very proprietary. I mean, even in what I do, I don't hand out my recipe for what I'm doing because anybody could just go and duplicate that. And I've spent the last 14 months developing tunes for both Foxes and the SDI E-Clicks.
Yeah, the difference with you is that you would be capable of coming with a custom tuning for people with different setups. Well, the off-the-mill solution, they protect one secret, but it's the same for everybody. So even if you know what's the secret sauce, it's going to be the same for you and your neighbor, right? It's the
Pretty
same
much.
shop.
Yeah,
So-
I mean, if someone drives a little faster or if their particular build is heavier, we can make slight changes from there.
Exactly.
And that's why right now I'm only offering tuning for Gladiators with certain springs, because I don't want to be like a lot of manufacturers and just put out a mediocre solution.
Yeah, to say it bluntly, right?
Yeah, I mean...
So I mean, and I respect that, and that's kind of why I came here. Though I understand you have a plan in the future to expand that catalog, so to other type of vehicle.
Absolutely, as I see a need for it. I mean, maybe the 4Runner is the next vehicle. Platform's been out for a long time.
Yeah.
We can make a lot more people smile, and then maybe we need to get a Bronco and move into other platforms.
Yeah, Tacoma, I know a lot of people too running
Yes.
that. You'd have all the GX, the Lexus big community around that too. So basically, you're building a package, choosing the right components, and then adding your touch with regards to suspension tuning. And so, how do you go about that? How do you tune the suspension without giving your recipe?
Well, I mean, the main thing is we need to know the vehicle's weight, the vehicle's gross vehicle weight, how it's going to travel, even unloaded. If you're going to drive it unloaded, and then a loaded capacity, whether or not you're towing. I use my vehicle unloaded a little bit. I might throw a moto in the back, I'll bolt a rooftop tent and a shower on it with some gear, all the way up to a moto in the bed towing my 19-foot travel trailer, which is getting up there in weight. So then we can tailor a solution for how you use your vehicle.
Yeah, and there is like solutions at all the price range, right? And obviously, sometimes the higher you go, the better the solution will be. And I'm thinking about live valving and all those like settings that can be dynamically adjusted depending on how you're driving. But if you don't have the money to spend on that, I think you're also capable of tuning shocks that are like have a fixed setting depending on what's the average driving style of a person.
Yeah, I don't have a solution just yet. I mean, somebody like Fox has their 2.5, but they don't offer it with a compression adjuster on it right now. But that, I mean, if they offer that, then I will probably, move into that, because that'll be a more high entry level solution.
Yeah.
And then, moving all the way up into the SDI E-Click, live valve stuff, which is kind of the ultimate right now.
Yeah. So that's what we went with the rig. We just went SDI live valving. And if you don't want to change your shocks and you already have nice Kings or something else you trust, SDI also offers, like those universal
kit.
And this is also like a busted valve. You can always customize that. Or
correct.
Yeah.
I mean, in some of the shocks, they're a little bit harder to modify. If they have a remote reservoir on a hose, it's a lot easier to modify those because you literally just install the SDI E-Click reservoir to it and plug in the computer.
Right. Yeah.
So cool. Piggyback, I haven't really come up with a solution for that yet, although nobody's asked for it, and we will if
the demand's there.
Demand's there.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then sway bars, I guess. You have a few goodies for front sway bars.
Sure.
Too,
Well, I mean, the Rubicon that most of the people I've been dealing with is disconnectable, so that's always a good thing. I like to, for driving fast off-road, I like to leave it connected, and so I like the JKS Flex Connect because we can retune. It comes with 4 different spring rates in the kit, so you can leave that connected. There's obviously the Anti-Rock solution, which we've tried out on his vehicle, and we'll see how that works out.
Yeah.
I like the rate on it, and I think it's going to be a good balance between road manners and off-road capability.
Awesome. To summarize, like custom suspensions, a lot of components. Don't try it yourself, I guess. I mean, you can, but it's just like personally, and that's also kind of like the goal of this video, is just like I want to show you basically maybe something more, that's something you haven't thought about. And it's not undoable to work with someone that actually know what he's talking about, and we'll come and talk to you and propose a solution that works for your need. And so that's kind of why I came to see you today. So say people are interested in that and want to reach out to you now or in the future, where can they find you, basically?
Well, we just launched our website, www.actionaxle.com, and then we're also working on www.overlandvehicledynamics.com to maybe cater more towards the phone and mail order crowd. Action Axle is our local Northern California brand where we actually do the service.
Okay. So online order, meaning shipping shocks and back and forth, getting them custom tuned and stuff like that?
Correct. Like right now, I would take delivery from SDI on a set of E-Clicks, do my machine work to them, my valving, and then reship them out to the end user. And I can do the same thing with Fox. However, shipping times have been, a little on the longer side, since
2020, basically.
Absolutely, yeah, that changed the game completely.
Yeah, cool. So if you have any question about anything, supported or not, we haven't touched base on every vehicle Tony supports or Planet supports. But of course, if you have any question, his email, contact info, everything's gonna be down below in the description of the video. So don't hesitate to hit him up with any questions. So far for me, he's been pretty responsive.
I'm very responsive to email, but if somebody leaves me a voicemail with their contact info and what they're looking for, I'll absolutely get back to you.
Well, I guess it's time for a little run around the shops, right?
Let's do it.